Alright, gentlemen, here's the plan. We cannot risk heading back to the barracks for now, so we are going to head southeast and then turn north. That should get us to the old Whitestone pub without problems. Once there, we split up and see what and who we can find. Got that?
Yes, Corporal.
Corporal Haskell Adams is the highest-ranking survivor of the 2nd Battalion, who now finds himself commanding barely a handful of men in the face of an alien occupation. Pulled from the ruins of the 9th Regiment's barracks, Private Basil Moore is the hardy workhorse of the team. Thanks to this, he can wield a bulky Maxim gun almost as easily as his fellows wield their rifles. Private Mitchell Kredge is not a good soldier, having been drafted from a local prison. He is, however, a cunning thief and may prove to be just what the team needs to survive. In contrast, Private Casper Fleming is what many believe to be a fine soldier, a crack shot and a stoic. This does make him somewhat poor company anywhere else than a battlefield, however. The outskirts of Norwich are a dangerous place, though not completely picked clean by scavengers. As this is a smaller board, there are only 4 points of interest on the map Corporal Adams and his men can investigate for supplies, indicated by red beads. They will also have to spend some time searching each of the 4 buildings on the map to locate any survivors, and then escort them to safety. Turn 1 begins with Kredge entering the battlefield from the southern corner, dashing for cover before noticing some recently upturned dirt with something glinting inside. Investigating it, he ends up discovering some unexploded ordnance. Thinking quickly, Kredge dives for cover before it explodes and manages to avoid taking damage. Checking out the resulting crater, he manages to salvage a mechanical component. Knowing that the explosion is bound to draw alien attention, he moves into the graveyard and takes cover. Next up is Casper Fleming, the marksman. With Kredge investigating the graveyard, Fleming sprints towards the stable outside the pub as best he can. Meanwhile, slowed somewhat by the weight of his main armament, Private Basil Moore enters the field and moves to keep an eye on Private Kredge. Finally, Corporal Adams arrives, and seeing that most of his men have begun to check out the graveyard, follows them in, quietly calling out for any survivors to come forth and make themselves known. Drawn by the sound of the explosion set off by Kredge, a patrol of aliens arrive from the east at the other end of the cemetery. Their route is set to take them right across the entire area. With alien presence now confirmed in the area, Fleming redoubles his efforts to reach the stables, and manages to take cover by another mound of freshly piled earth. He scuffs it with his boot, but finds nothing this turn. Meanwhile, Corporal Adams continues to move through the graveyard, searching for anyone who may have taken shelter amongst the tombs when the invasion came. Private Moore assists his corporal with the search, and between the two of them, they thoroughly verify that there are no survivors hiding out in the graveyard. With a patrol of shards nearby, Kredge freezes and holds his breath, hoping to avoid detection. The patrol pauses in their movement, somehow managing to sense the gathered soldiers at the far end of the cemetery. As one, they shift their course and swarm over the northern wall and spill into the graveyard, seeking targets.
Corporal, incoming!
I see them, Moore!
At the start of turn 3, an alien reconnaissance ship passes by overhead, engines blaring. Seeing this, Fleming abandons his position by the fence and desperately digs through the dirt, only to discover a host of empty tins and cans that may have once held vital supplies. Cursing his luck, he drags himself out of the dirt and into the stables, looking for survivors. With a patrol of shards closing in, Private Moore does the only thing he can and opens fire with his trusty Maxim. The hail of bullets alerts the aliens, but not before one of them is scythed down. Moore then breaks for the exit as Kredge leans out of cover and takes an aimed shot at another alien. He manages to hit and slay one of the invaders before swiftly following Moore out of the graveyard. Corporal Adams covers the retreat of his men, taking aim and slaying a third before heading off. With the patrol alerted, a signal goes out, just as a rapid response squad deploys from the dropship overhead. The remains of the alien patrol furiously pursue the fleeing humans, spitting orbs of energy at the retreating corporal, who successfully dodges their retaliation. Meanwhile, the shards and the rapid response unit drift around the corner and flank Moore and Krej. They open fire, but only cause a single hit on Krej, which fails to penetrate the man's armor. Hearing the distant sounds of continuing combat, Fleming tries his best to coax any survivors out of hiding in the stables, but no one answers him. In the graveyard, Corporal Adams takes careful aim and manages to slay another shard, before drawing his sword and charging the last alien from the patrol.
For Queen and country!
Just outside, still shaken from his brush with death, Krej takes a shot at the freshly arrived shards, but his bullet pings off their armor. Knowing discretion is the better part of valor, he scurries back into the graveyard. With Krej out of the way, Moore opens fire with his Maxim at the incoming aliens, and manages to destroy one of them. Drawn by a signal from the patrol unit, a pair of reinforcement shards appear in the west, right by Fleming's position. They split up and move to encircle the marksman, with one taking the opportunity to take a shot at the man through a window. Luckily, Fleming manages to throw himself aside, just enough for his armor to deflect the shot. The surviving shard of the rapid response unit surges forth to engage Moore in melee, preventing him from bringing the Maxim gun to bear again. Just a few feet away, Corporal Adams duels with the last surviving shard of the patrol, deftly avoiding its attacks. With danger closing in, Fleming attempts to shoot the shard that attacked him through the window, but though his aim is true, the bullet is deflected by the alien's armor plating. Quietly cursing to himself, he spots the other shard moving to flank him, and relocates to a more defensible position, the pub. Hopefully he can hide out there until all of this blows over. Corporal Adams finally manages to overcome his foe, and destroys the last alien of the patrol squad, while Private Moore draws his bayonet and tries his best to stab the bulky shard seeking to eviscerate him. Whilst all of this is happening, Krej makes his way around the graveyard and checks the tombs for any hidden supplies, but finds nothing, with the graveyard clearly already having been looted by other scavengers. Annoyed, he begins to frantically scrabble through the sparking remains of the dead aliens, salvaging 2 pieces of xenotech. With their prey gone to ground and contact with the patrol unit lost, the reinforcement shards split up. One gives chase to Fleming, smashing into the hastily barred door of the pub to engage the human within. The other drifts east to ascertain the fate of the lost patrol. As for the lost surviving response shard, it continues to try to cut down Moore, but the man manages to evade its talons for now. Seeing Moore in danger, Adams leaps into the fray once more, but his blows are turned aside by the armor of the metallic creature. Fortunately, this distracts the alien long enough for Moore to drive his bayonet through its glowing eye and bring it down. Behind the heroic pair, Krej continues to search the dead aliens for any scrap and trinkets that could be of value, but again turns up nothing. Meanwhile, the sounds of brawling continue to come from the pub as Fleming and the Shard try to kill one another. The brutal sounds of combat within the pub intensify as neither man nor machine yield. The second Shard from the reinforcement squad takes a quick opportunity shot at Corporal Adams, but misses. Recognizing the danger posed by the nearby Maxim, it surges forward to engage the Corporal in melee, knowing that the human Corporal Adams swings his blade back and forth, but the hovering alien flits around his strikes, as Krej keeps digging through the pile of dead aliens, finding another piece of xenotech. The brutal combat in the pub finally comes to a close, with Fleming stumbling out of the shattered taproom, bruised but somehow unhurt. With his corporal locked in combat with the last surviving alien, Moore can do little but watch and hope his commander's sword skills prove to be enough. Which proves to be the case after one more turn of combat. With that, the 33rd Irregulars are victorious and swiftly sweep the battlefield and points of interest for their objectives. Whilst they fail to uncover any useful salvage, they do discover the survivor, a doctor who had been hiding out in the pub stables this entire time.
Soldiers? Thank the heavens. I was beginning to think no one was coming.
Easy there, old boy. We aren't safe just yet. We had a camp in the outskirts. We can talk there.
Oh, yes, of course.